said Far Cry needs changing, needs to get their heads checked. It's like the same people that say that Counter-Strike needs a change. No, it doesn't. It's freaking Counter-Strike. And the same applies to Far Cry. They nailed the formula in 2, and they only made it better with 3. And then when 4 came around, it was even better than that. And then number 5 is like the epitome of Far Cry games. Number 6 has a little bit of issues. We'll talk about that later. Now, I'll preface this by saying that I never played the DLCs or Primal because Primal didn't have guns in it, and I play Far Cry for the gunplay. I did play Far Cry 1 when it came out, and it was awesome. 2 came out, it had cars and malaria and lighting stuff on fire and animals. It was freaking awesome. I bought Far Cry 3 the day it came out for $99 on the PS3 store, and I pre-ordered 4, pre-ordered 5, and pre-ordered 6. So I'm a die-hard Far Cry fan, and I always have been. Now, I understand the criticism when people say that they load up a new Far Cry game and it feels exactly like the old game. But it's like these people have never compared the Far Cry series to FIFA or Madden or every other game that comes out every single year with a new version. And those games don't take the criticism because what can you do to reinvent a soccer game, right? Whereas the issue with Ubisoft being at the reins of the Far Cry franchise is that Ubisoft take criticism very heavily, it seems, especially lately, and they bend the knee to what the community wants, regardless of whether it's a good idea or not. So it's no surprise to see Ubisoft's stock tanking because people have just lost faith in the management. And Assassin's Creed, for instance, needed the innovation. There was only so many times you could run up a building and jump down the building into a pile of hay before it kind of gets boring. So then they did stuff like Black Flag and Valhalla, and I think people really appreciated those sort of changes. And it's not like they've taken out the main core mechanic of the game, which is parkouring around, because that's sick. I can understand why people like it though, it's a cool franchise. But they've made 13 Assassin's Creed games since 2007. That's wild. And I read somewhere recently that apparently Ubisoft are going to be releasing an Assassin's Creed game every 6 months for the next 5 years. So yeah, you kind of do need to innovate on that.
And that's just because these games are at such a huge disconnect with fun.
But when it comes to Far Cry, why would you take something that perfect and try and make changes to it that nobody asked for? So, let's talk about the things that make Far Cry great. A is the gunplay. I've always thought that the gunplay was just fantastic in Far Cry. There's a good selection of guns. They all feel really powerful to shoot. They're fun to shoot. You can shoot out of cars. It's great. I've not a bad thing to say about it. Now, in Far Cry 5 specifically, they also had melee weapons that you could throw at people, which is freaking sweet. It's one of my favorite features of Far Cry 5. And when you play multiplayer, the driver can drive up beside someone and you can just bash people over the head out the window. So funny. And they know it was good because they even added a weapon that was the shovel launcher. Those are the best weapon that's ever been added to any Far Cry game ever, hands down. B is the random encounters. I personally love that you can't drive more than 20 seconds in a direction without something happening. Somebody trying to kill you, a dude on the side of the road, or like a explosive truck goes past or something like that. It's just everywhere, constantly. It's constantly chaos. Sometimes it's glitchy, but it's like endearing glitches that are really funny, really great. It's just chaotic, and I love that. Even having random animals come out of the bushes and attack you wherever you are is hilarious. It's one of the best features of the franchise, and it keeps you constantly engaged, and I love it. C is the movement. It's got everything you could possibly ask for. Vaulting, sprinting, freaking grappling hook, parachute, wingsuit. It's all there. And it's comparable to nothing but Just Cause, which is one of the sweetest games of all time. And borderline just as chaotic. Oh, shoveled fish. Whoa! Yeah! Light that shit up. Yeah! Yeah! D is a storyline. Now, I'm a serial cinematic skipper, so as far as the storyline goes, I don't really care about the nitty-gritty details of any of it. What I do know is there's a bad guy, I'm the good guy, and the whole game I'm trying to take down the bad guy. That's the formula. It's always worked. There's no point changing it. There's always a bad guy, and you're the good guy, and you gotta take the bad guy down. It's classic. Doesn't need changing. The Far Cry 7 story could be about a bad guy, I'm a good guy, and I gotta spend the whole time taking him down. I'm not gonna be disappointed about that. It's solid storytelling. They do a great job. Ubisoft needs to stop holding its storytellers back. Who is this cooked ass journalist? E, F, and G we're gonna bang out real quick. Stealth, cars, world building. And our honorable mention is multiplayer. Stealth is just a core mechanic of the game, you can't avoid it. Reverse DOESN and a front wheel drive will never get old. And world building, I mean just look at this game. So then what did they mess up about 6? Now, Ubisoft only dropped the ball slightly, I'd say, with this one. And the main reason is that they got rid of the melee weapons. That really pissed me off. And the worst part is, their compromise was to get rid of another feature, the kick/punch button, which was one of the cooler features of the game as well. So, I'd say the main issue is that Ubisoft have been caving to the pressure of all of these nerds online that have been saying that Far Cry needs to change.
There are several things we would like to see changed in the next game. It's time for something new. Perhaps Japan. From the metropolises of Tokyo to the more rural Kyoto. Another amazingly annoying change in Far Cry 6 is skills being tied to gear. While it may seem like a great way to encourage a loot game, that's not what fans want.
Or how they removed the Motherland bundle from Far Cry 6 because of the stuff that's going on in Russia. It's gone. You can't get it anymore. Pack it up, guys. The war's over. Thanks, Ubisoft. Not a good sign for Far Cry 7. And we've already seen with some of the things that have been released about Far Cry 7 is they're pushing it in a completely different direction. And if you're out here saying that the Far Cry formula needs changing, maybe you just don't like Far Cry games. One of those directions is an extraction-based shooter, essentially turning the franchise into NFT trash. But apparently that's not going to be Far Cry 7. With Far Cry 7, they've said that there's going to be some sort of time-based thing like Dead Rising, which is a strange thing to want to change Far Cry into. So, is there hope for Far Cry 7? I never thought I'd say this, but after Black Myth Wukong and the reception that received, Tencent buying out Ubisoft might actually be good for the franchise. And Tencent are considering buying Ubisoft, and it's looking like they're planning on taking the company private, which means they'll no longer have to worry about an ESG score and other things that compromise the integrity of a good game, like higher-ups that don't even play games shoehorning features and changes into the franchise, or secret agendas that have nothing to do with giving the player a good experience. The only trade-off being that we're gonna have to put up with a bunch of trash articles like this coming out. I'm still gonna pre-order the game and I'm still gonna play it day one, but please, Chinese overlords, don't mess this up. Please fix the game. Please don't let Ubisoft ruin this for us. And if you want to support based game development, you can support me directly by buying DJ Simulator on Steam right now. Also Patreon and channel membership. Just subscribe to the channel, like the video, blah 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 blah. See you guys next time.
The Bluetooth device is ready to pair.